Karatander, the boss of the Neko's Yakuza clan, was overjoyed. Finally, after so many years, Majima had brought him the legendary Hello Kitty. When the old man stroked her, a strange glow emanated from the cat, almost like magic. The cunning Majima informed Karatander that Silent had actually done all the work for him. Karatander noticed that the cat was hungry. She began meowing, and the magical glow disappeared. Then the boss gave Majima a new task: steal a special cat food produced exclusively in the laboratory of the Bycat Technologies Corporation. With a sly grin on his face, Majima left the boss's chambers, and the old man continued to stroke Hello Kitty, but the glow never appeared. All this time, Silent waited for Majima at the main entrance to the Yakuza headquarters, dreaming of how he would take revenge on that scoundrel for the death of his mother. When Majima left the building, the first thing he did was grab a chocolate bar to lift his spirits after a tense conversation with his boss. The cunning Majima didn't want to risk his life, so he kept quiet again. This was an impossible task. The Cat Special Forces jeeps arrived at the Biocat Technology Corporation headquarters. Masita went to report to her superiors. The main office was on the top floor of a huge skyscraper. The head of the corporation was waiting there. At that moment, Silent Man arrived. He parked near a dumpster and began carefully assessing the situation. It turned out that the corporation's territory was surrounded by an electric fence. Silent Man realized that he wouldn't be able to get through easily. He needed some kind of cunning plan. Silent Man was lucky. A lone long-eared Special Forces soldier was patrolling the area around the fence. The poor guy was so overworked that he even forgot to go to the bathroom. He couldn't take it anymore. When the patrolman spotted a dumpster on the horizon, he quickly ran there. Silent watched him unnoticed. The combat feline ran to the dumpster and began to relieve himself in the nearest trash can. Silent realized his opponent was defenseless, and this was an excellent chance to deal with him quietly. Agda. Silent approached the checkpoint. The patrolman couldn't recognize his face, so he assumed it was some new kid. Silent nodded affirmatively, and he was allowed into the Biocat Techniques Corporation. The guy looked around and spotted the laboratory building he was looking for. As if nothing had happened, he went there in search of cat food. A lone man in a white coat sat at the reception desk. He mistook Silent for a feline Special Forces soldier who was just about to report for duty. The guy silently headed for the elevator. It turned out that the laboratory itself was located deep underground. At this point, the unfortunate patrolman regained consciousness. He was terribly displeased with the chaos that had occurred. He needed to immediately report this attack to the others, but he was ashamed to run like a clod. He had to search the trash for some clothes. Silent finally reached the underground laboratory complex. Almost immediately, a sign for Hello Kitty food caught his eye. He headed in that direction. There were several doors in the hallway. Silent decided to enter the first one he came across. Inside, he discovered numerous strange capsules filled with a green liquid, each containing unconscious cats. Silent looked at them, wondering what the lab workers were doing here. At that moment, a scientist noticed Silent. Silent didn't mince words. With a deft slam of his head on the table, Silent sent the scientist off to an unscheduled rest. Right there, a cabinet with Hello Kitty food bags was nearby. Everything was going swimmingly. The Special Forces soldier in the Pikachu costume ran to the checkpoint. His comrade immediately began to mock him, but Pikachu explained that this was a very serious matter. The guard realized that Kenji's attacker was the same Silent newcomer. The head of security pulled out his radio and sounded the alarm, then put Pikachu on duty while he and his colleagues ran to the lab. The Silent Man calmly walked down the corridor, confident that the task was already completed. Suddenly, an alarm sounded. The guy realized that, alas, there was no getting around it. The long-eared Special Forces soldier reached the underground lab complex. First, he radioed for the elevator to be locked down. In search of the intruder, the operatives split into the three main sections of the complex. The Silent Man hurried toward the elevator. Along the way, he encountered his first combat robot. A fierce battle ensued. Silent once again demonstrated his masterful use of a katana, deflecting bullets like a shield. Silent saw a sign for a recreation area and decided there must be an emergency exit there. He ran there. A platform with a combat robot cat descended from the ceiling. Schleppa 88. Such an opponent was no joke, so Silent didn't waste time on him, but ran straight to the recreation area. Robot Cat identified Silent as a target and fired a homing missile at him. The
missile began pursuing Silent. He found himself trapped.
But managed to escape. The
stupid robot continued to pursue. Silent had enough. He dropped a giant iron claw on the robot. He thought the danger was over. Unfortunately, it wasn't. He found himself in a robot cat recharging room. And in the recreation room were two unsuspecting scientists. They thought it was all just a drill, a good excuse to skip work. Imagine the shock for the scientists when the missile suddenly made it clear it wasn't a drill at all. Silence managed to escape the lab. The mission was completed in the escape capsule. All that remained was to reach the Yakuza base. While all this commotion was happening in the Biocat Technology Lab, the corporation's CEO, Hideo Miyamoto, was harshly scolding Masita for the disappearance of Hello Kitty. He was the cat's owner. Hideo Miyamoto was about to give Masita another slap. But suddenly his phone rang. It was Professor Takeshi, the scientist whom Silence had knocked out by slamming him into a table. He had regained consciousness and informed his boss about the theft of Hello Kitty's food by some green-haired kid. In a furious rage, Mr. Miyamoto pressed the button on the table. The hatch leading to the emergency evacuation tunnel opened. The evil old man ordered Masita to catch the Silent One. The evacuation through the tunnel happened incredibly quickly. Less than a minute later, Masita was racing full speed on her motorcycle in pursuit of the green-haired thief. They met the silent Masita at one of the nearby intersections. Our old acquaintance, Officer Pedro, also joined the chase. At the sound of a police siren, Molchu turned around and was very surprised to see the same pink-haired girl on his tail. Being chased by a beauty awakened his athleticism. A football field just happened to be on the way. Masita flew up on a large ramp and managed to plant a tracking device on the Silent One in mid-flight. Only the most trained feline special forces soldiers are capable of such a feline. The stupid cops lost control of their vehicle and crashed into Masita's motorcycle at full speed. Luckily, there were no injuries. Officer Pedro wasn't about to give up. The cops were trying to do their job properly. Pedro saw Masita. He, of course, immediately recognized her and tried to arrest her. But just like last time, he got a call from the police chief. The chief ordered Pedro to let the girl go, despite his disapproval.